Hello, welcome to another episode of Live at MCX, where we have conversations with experts, partners, and pros about anything under creative media technology. My name is Larry, and I take care of TSS here at Bindicast, and with me is Majd, our marketing specialist here. And I am truly excited to introduce you to our guest for this episode. But before I do, just a quick reminder for our viewers on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have your comments, good or bad. Your support means the world to us. And for our listeners on Apple Podcasts, your 5-star ratings and reviews are invaluable. And if you're tuning in via Spotify, a follow will be greatly appreciated. Now, in this episode, we are so happy and excited to have a conversation with one of the country's DOPs, who also happens to be an accomplished DaVinci Resolve color grading artist. He is joining us today as he takes a break in between his projects, and we are so lucky to have the opportunity to pick his brain about his experience as a cinematographer and a color grading artist here in the UAE. Let's all welcome Daniel Flaherty. Flaherty. Did I say
Flaherty.
it right?
That's right. You got it. Yeah. With a lovely Irish twang on the end. Very nice. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And of course, we have Majd. How are you, Majd?
Hi, I'm good, Larry. How are you? How are you, Daniel?
I'm very good. Thank
All
you, Majd.
good?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you here today.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm a bit nervous, but hopefully we're going to get through it all fine.
All will be smooth and good.
We're all nervous. I'm also nervous.
So basically, we'll ask you some few questions
Sure.
about your field.
Yeah.
Let's start with who is Daniel?
Right. So my name's Daniel O'Flaherty, as you already know. Director of photography and colorist here in Dubai. I've been here for 8 years now. And I wanted to start in film ever since I was very young, basically, and I'm very happy to be pursuing my dreams in this field, basically. Yeah.
So when did you start?
So I guess I started in college. I went to college, did 2 years of that, and then I went to university. I went to University of Creative Arts in Farnham, which was a fantastic university. Some great teachers there. And when I went there with the intention to be a director. I wanted to direct, and I went in. The first year, you kind of learn everything. They show you how to produce, they show you how to do camera, every little bit and bob, and sound and everything. And then I ended up going into. We had to do 2 movies basically in the year. The first year, the first movie that we did, where I got put in a group of 6 other people, and no one wanted to do the camera work. No one. Because it's scary for a lot of people, especially it's the first time. So they're like, oh, I can't use the camera. I was the only one that knew how to use the camera. So I ended up having to do that. And so I did the camera and lighting for this particular project. And when we handed in the project, the film lecturers, they didn't love the project so much, but they loved the camera work. They loved the cinematography. They loved the lighting. They loved everything about it. They couldn't stop going on about it, basically. And it got me thinking, oh, that's a good thing to hear, like that my camera work is good. So when we went to the next project, I did the same, ended up doing the same thing, similar situation. Not many people knew how to use the cameras. And the second year, when we had to pick the specialism, that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of the years you're there, whether it be directing or producing or, I ended up getting into a pool game, like a snooker game, with a couple of third years. They were just graduating. And I asked them, I want to direct, but what do you think I should do? Because a lot of people say I'm good at cinematography, and I'm pretty good at producing, and they gave me a really great piece of advice, which was, if you're going to study here, don't study directing, because it's something that a lot of people kind of learn it's kind of hard to teach.
Yeah.
Very hard to teach something that you kind of learn by yourself, like it's more interactions and like relationships. But if you can leave here with a skill, you'll leave here with things that will get you hired instantly. And they were exactly right. So, and like I can say this years after leaving, because even when I left uni, I got straight into work with like lighting, sparking, gaffing, ACing, because you learn so much roles in between. It's not just DOPing with like this a massive team behind you,
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning every little bits of that roles, and that's exactly what happens. And you learn team communication because you're working with so many people constantly. So yeah, that's kind of like how I ended up, and then I left and started working. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when I also did a film school when I was a lot younger, and it's the same experience. No one wants to hold the camera. No one wants
Yeah.
to operate the camera.
Yeah.
And I think we have the same experience. For our class, I'm the only one who's like carrying the camera. I have the lights, and during my time, the lights that we're using are all like, not these LED ones.
The incandescent bulb ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we call it the
God.
redheads.
That's right, redheads.
The
Yeah,
redheads.
2K blondies as
Yes,
well. Yeah,
the
yeah.
blondies.
Yeah.
And they're big. And when you open the trunk of my car, it's just gonna be all equipment gear.
Yeah.
And I think the car is like, it's not balanced. So basically, it's like that because every gear was it's very heavy, and it's the same. I think you made a very important point there that sometimes it's really the skill, the hard skill to operate the camera, to understand lighting. I think that's what makes someone really successful in this field.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Yeah, learning skills like whatever that be is invaluable almost. But with cinematography in particular, that specialism, it's just the amount of skills you can pick up. It's a wide variety, and that kind of helps a lot of people kind of go down different career paths. It doesn't have to be a DOP. It could be a camera operator. It could be a gaffer. It could be a spark. It can be a camera assistant. It really just helps in that field, and like I say, with team building as well. But yeah, I remember the days of having like hundreds of blondies in the car, and oh my god, it's crazy that I remember a time when I used LEDs on a project of mine, like when they were really just coming in, and there was a place called I think it was called Green Kit in London, and they only did like LEDs, but this is like early on in the day, and everyone was going LEDs, oh no, like the colors off, I don't like it, and I remember I had one LED on one of my sets, so I was like, I want to keep using it, and I'd kind of try and find ways to use it here and there, but it was just like a 1x1 panel, but I was like, and then I remember someone said to me, I think the guys from that place actually said, oh, one day this could be the future, LEDs. I was like, wouldn't that be something special if it was? And look at us now, it's like everything is going LED, and they're so strong now, these lights, it's crazy. And now you don't need to plug in all the time, run massive cables, you can just V-lock a lot of situations. So
and imagine the lights that we were using before, it's really hot. Like
heavy.
Literally hot.
yeah, the talent of sweating.
Yes.
That's,
We cannot wear this. We cannot. It's really difficult. No matter how good the air conditioning is, it's really.
As everyone's spoiled now as well. It's like if someone sees a tungsten bulb on a set, or it's slightly, someone goes, that's too warm, can we change it? It's like imagine this 10 years ago.
You cannot do it. You do gels.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you use like low quality gels, it will just melt in front of it.
Yeah.
So
You've got to get that far away. Yeah.
So basically, we know that you started earlier because you love this field, but what sparked your interest in these fields and why in UAE?
So when I was really young, I was just obsessed with movies. Like I loved filmmaking. I love movies more than filmmaking, to be fair. I wanted to be a part of that, and I used to go when I used to buy a DVD. Obviously, I was watching videos as a kid, but then when the DVDs came out, I used to go and watch the behind the scenes. Just to see the crew at work, and I always thought, one day I want to be the person that does this. So it was never really any question for me. There wasn't any point all the way up to uni where I was like, maybe I'll try something else. It was always film. It was always I always was like, I'm going to do film. I'm going to be a director. I used to tell my family all the time when I was young, because when you're young and you're watching these movies, they're all from America, they're all Hollywood movies, and I used to be like, when I grow up, I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to do this, and then people would be like, yeah, great, or they'd be like, you're insane. But it's funny because it kind of came true. I just didn't go to America. I came to the UAE, but the UAE, I came here basically to do a small job, and then I came here later after I'd finished it. I thought that was a really nice place, and I came for a bigger job that lasted a longer time, and I started to experience the country, experience kind of the atmosphere of the place. I also met my wife here, which also helped me stay even more. But yeah, all these kind of things just added to kind of have myself be based here. Also in London as well, where I'm basically from in England. when you're working there, it's a gradual progression. Like I was doing short films, like I'd done a few short films, won a couple of awards for them, and I was doing kind of sparking, gaffing on the side, that kind of stuff. So I did a bit of everything, and it's a very competitive market, like London, very competitive. You've got a lot of like older dudes that are very knowledgeable, and you're competing in that market. When I came out here at that time in the UAE, the market wasn't as big. So someone like me with my abilities actually happened to stand out, because I could do, I would say there probably wasn't as many filmmakers in the region as there is now. I mean, now it's grown immensely. A lot of filmmakers, a lot of great creative filmmakers here now. But yeah, back then it was still the growing period, and I kind of was a part of that period. So like it actually helped me kind of infiltrate myself here a little bit better. So yeah, that's kind of the story of how. But also, yeah, I just kind of fell in love with the UAE and Dubai, and it's a really nice living. Like it's comfortable here, and it's exciting with the scenery, and it's so scenic and beautiful, and there's always great stuff to shoot, and everyone always wants to promote the hell out of everything. So it's great for me. Yeah.
Did you do some projects in UK or was whole here?
I did projects I do projects all over basically, but when I was living in the UK, most of my projects were UK based or around like the Europe. Like I'd go to Spain or Ireland where my family's from, so yeah, and then now that I'm here, I just still travel. Like I was in Valencia recently, filming out there a commercial for I think it was Formula E, and then I go to Saudi a lot. Like I jump around different places. Yeah.
So what's your style in projects? How do you make it unique? Like your
start, it's funny, like a lot of people, like I always ask the people, but I don't think I have a style. Like I'm sure if you ask people that like know me or watch my, they might be like, oh, he has a style, he just doesn't know. But I don't think I do have a style. I think it's just when you read the script I think more than just reading the script, when you understand who the audience is, like where is it going, that helps a lot with deciding what the style is going to be. Because like if I know that it's going to a certain kind of demographic, or kind of like certain, if they're trying to promote to a certain like a certain age range, it helps me decide what's like how do I want this to look. Do I want this to be like dark and moody, or like is there going to be a lot of effects in this, or like a lot of different like camera transitions, or it kind of helps with that approach. So yeah, I don't think I have a style, to be fair, but there are things that I always try to keep like in my work. I always try and keep good like structured composition. I love that. In terms of like, I know a lot of people are into just soft light, but I love adding splashes of hard light in my work. That's something that I don't even notice I'm doing it until the project's done, and I'm like, oh, I've done another hard slash across all the and I'd say the other thing is probably I like to get the geography of a scene. So what that means is like I like to have enough coverage. I want to have enough coverage so that if someone watches the scene, and so the editor has that, they can put it together, and if someone watches the scene, they feel like they can walk around the house that was shot. You know what I mean? Like I like that approach to it. There's something nice about that for me.
And I think that style kind of limits other limits your projects as well. So if you have a very specific style, it kind of, from what I see, is that kind of limits in what you do. So if you are known to be an avant-garde kind of guy, so you'll just get avant-garde projects. But I think the important thing is the flexibility,
adaptability to
adaptability.
The project. Yeah.
And I treat that as like rules. So sometimes there are rules, but then sometimes you just have to go with the flow, because you do something that is gonna, I don't know, make you feel satisfied in the end, or gonna make you
step out of the...
you just step out of your box and just do something that you really like or love. Or it sounds so cheesy and all, but at the same time, the truth is, when I personally speak with creatives like you, And the good thing is you're both creative and you're both a technical person. So when I speak to creative people, may it be audio or video, and when someone is limited with what he or she is doing, that kind of really limits a lot of possibilities in there. Not just possibilities of project, but possibilities for growth, or possibilities of to be like just I don't know. It's like it's nice that you mentioned that, you know, your adaptability and all, but then at the same time keep something like you like the structure of your composition, your hard light stuff, just like what's this DOP that uses a lot of lens flares here and there. Abrams, is that Abrams?
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Director. Yes.
Yeah, the director.
I know
Sorry,
what you
yeah.
mean, yes.
So
Yeah,
he does a lot of lens flares.
Yeah.
So lens flare, that's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, no. Does the local or the regional cultural influence your work? If yes, in what way?
So I would say that it does influence it when I get projects that have me be influenced by it. Because if I have an example would be like if I did a project recently for a football club out here in Abu Dhabi, and it was like a 50-year anniversary kind of thing, you know, and that is like they want to show the progress of 50 years, like of unity and strength in Abu Dhabi and what the football club means and stuff. And then you're going to go, your mind searches of how can I bring the cultural aspect to that, you know. So yeah, in that respect it would influence it, and I'd be influenced by, you know, how warm I'd like it, because when I think of Abu Dhabi and, you know, I go, okay, it's like a warm, like soft texture, you know, and like I want to use more filters on it. I want to get it more texturized. I want to get it softer, you know. And we were doing scenes as well where it was like supposed to be like progression of 50 years. So we had some kids running down the street for football, and this is like 50 years ago. So I was using a lot more filters, and then as we would go through the years, I would reduce the filters slowly until I got up to present day. And then I had it clean with like a nice look, and I took it into the grade and did certain things in the grade that would probably allow me anyway, like in my opinion, to see it as, okay, this is a UAE film kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I guess it really depends on the project, like, you know, that always influences me. So when projects have that ability about them, then it does influence me. And Dubai, the UAE, as you know, it's a very diverse cultural place, you know. So it kind of it influences a lot of projects, because a lot of the projects I'm doing have that diverseness to it, and, you know, that kind of adaptability of everything with it. So yeah.
Any interesting project to share with us that you did here in UAE?
In UAE, oh god, there's so many. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I did, so I'm trying to think if I can mention.
Which one is your favorite? You don't have a favorite?
I did one with, okay, there are a couple, I'll name on the top of my head. There was one I did with Nespresso. So this is probably one that actually goes kind of with your question of like how it makes, how the UAE makes an impression on the cinematography. So I did a commercial with Nespresso a few years back, and that was a Ramadan campaign. And it really, so I've obviously been here a few years now. I know what Ramadan is. My wife practices Ramadan. We practice Ramadan together, you know, and all the family does. So having that kind of knowledge of how it works and the feeling, you know what the feeling is of Ramadan, and once you know that feeling, you can adapt that to the visuals. So that's what I tried to do with that. And there's a lovely scene we shot basically where they're all having dinner outside. There's I put these nice warm glowy bulbs above them, and it was the light that I had for the night was a nice soft blue, you know, because that's what I feel when I think of Ramadan. That's what I think, you know. I don't think of like a darkness outside and like harsh. I think of like soft blues. I think of soft yellows, you know, and then them being lit by this blue and yellow, and, you know, because it's like warm, inviting, family friendly, you know. So those little things, like, you know, they can make an impression on the project. So that would probably be one that comes to mind. Away from that, but another project is I shot once I think they're called Jaboa, like I had to work out these lenses to get this this Australian it's like a mouse that kind of is like so quick, so fast, and
Okay.
we were filming him like a while back in a studio, and it was just the maddest thing I've ever seen. Like it was difficult from a camera perspective, yeah. But in general, that's probably
You have to run as fast as the mouse. Like
exactly, yeah. You're getting your camera on it, yeah.
Type, when you are running your project, what are the some tools that must have as a color grader or a cinematographer?
Must-have tools. So I think in general, you'd look at like the camera, the lights, the computer software, like something like DaVinci Resolve or something to work on the generic things. But I mean, other than that, you need, as a DOP, you need to have I feel like most scenarios, you need a great team behind you. You need like a strong team, whether that be gaffers or sparks or ACs or like people that understand your workflow and can help out. I think that's really pivotal and crucial. I always bring, when I go to location recce's, there's things I always want to bring, like I bring my digital tape measure, because it comes in handy when I'm scouting rooms, and I go, okay, this is this big, and I can jot that down because I'm constantly making floor plans after I go into a room. And then the phone is probably one of the most important tools, because it does everything. You can take pictures on your recce. There's so many apps that you're using to see where the sun's going to come up that morning, where it's going to go. You can use it to frame up shots with certain apps and stuff. There's just so much that you can use the phone for. I also bring my light meter, and I'm starting to bring a lot now my Insta360 camera. I don't know if you've seen these cameras, but they're 360 view. So when you take them into a room, a lot of the times I'm going into the corners of the room taking these wide pictures, so I can then think about the lighting and where I'm going to rig the lights and stuff. But I can take the Insta360 now, I put it there, I take a picture, and I have a 3D scope, and then when I meet with the gaffer, I'm like, okay, and I just scroll through the 360. We'll put a light here, we'll put a light here, what do you think if we do this? It just makes things a lot easier. So that's all physical components. I'd say like other than physical components, you need a good eye. I think that's crucial. Like, and the more you work, the more you start working with lighting, you'll start seeing light everywhere. Like, and I mean that by like how it affects a room, and then how you can recreate it. It's almost it's a weird thing. It's like once you keep working with lights and lights and lights, sometimes when you're just sitting doing nothing, you'll see the light and you're thinking about how you recreate that light. It's just always a constant thought in you. So that's always a good thing to get. But passion for the projects as well is always a good thing.
And do you build your own team? Like, do you have?
So basically, I'll get in. I know a lot of rental houses out here, so I'll get in contact with them. We'll sort out certain kits for where they go, and then I'll have. I've worked with a lot of different people throughout my years here, so I'll see who's available, and then I'll kind of go to the next person, and then we always come back full circle at the end of the day, anyway,
That's really important. I'm a firm believer that no great project is basically done by one person alone. You really need to have someone that you rely on and you trust, and that person actually makes you feel a lot better, or not feel, but basically do a lot of things better. It's I think it's a very important aspect of production,
definitely,
in that case, and having that. And I'm sure you go to rental houses, but you'll always have this go-to person. Like you always make sure that he or she is part of the team.
Yes, definitely, because it makes my job a lot easier. So when you spend years and it's kind of like you spend years working with different people, and then you finally find one person or two people who's like they're on the list every time. And it makes your life so much easier. So when I first came out here, I don't know anyone that's kind of going to be able to. And then slowly but surely, you start building crew members that you're like, okay, I can count on this person.
Yes.
And like they're going to look out for me. They're going to look out for the film, like the commercial, whatever it is. They're going to look out for it and make sure we're doing good things, And once you find those people, then life becomes so much
easier. Even as a project result, it will be like looking way better. With
Oh, of
this
course, yeah, because there's that shot that you might have missed, you've got because people were working really hard to get it, rather than they weren't as passionate or involved in it as you were. It's great when you are working with someone in a team and you feel the same level of energy. And that like for instance, I love it when I'm talking about things with my lighting team and I go, we'll put this here, and then they go, oh yeah, but we can rig it this way though, it might be better. I love that because it shows that it's like we're all in it, and like I'm loving like finding out different solutions and stuff and working as a team together to pull it off, because it just means that we're going to work faster, we're going to work harder, we're going to work better. So yeah,
but the problem with that is if that person leaves, if
that's why you need two. Always get two.
Sometimes you cannot have two. Sometimes you can only have one. And the problem is if that person decides that, okay, I'm gonna go this way, I don't know.
The search begins.
Or maybe just gonna. Anyway, but my point is, you're right. At least you have that. Next person standby, like a stand-in for an actor. But at the same time, having, I really believe in the importance of having that. I call them the support group, the support system, especially when you're running a production. When I run a project in audio, which I'm more involved in, I also have this guy. So if I need an original composition, I know a lot of composers out there, but I know that this guy will always be the match for that specific one. And how I wish I won't lose that guy because but then you cannot really avoid it. But it's the same everywhere anyway.
Yeah, but like eventually when if something if that person's busy and you work with someone else, or you have to work with another person, eventually you might find that next person, and then you're like, oh great, now I've got two great people to work with.
No, I'm stubborn. I only want one.
Yeah, it's hard, but so basically, you mentioned that you're using the latest technology and like shooting the 360 and stuff. So are you into updating your equipments to the updated creative media technology, or you're comfortable with what you're doing?
No, I'm someone who really likes I'm constantly researching into new technology, constantly. Like it's an unhealthy obsession, to be honest with you. Like I have a thing where like research, I'm obsessed with research. It doesn't matter what it is. If I'm looking into anything in life, I'll research it to death.
Yeah.
Anytime there's new technology that comes out, I have feeds that come to me that tell me, oh, this has just been released, and then the first thing I'll do is I'll read an article about it. I'll go into more depth. I'll say, why is that better than this? And I'll do a couple of comparisons. Obviously we were talking about off camera beforehand about Blackmagic and their sensor and stuff. So just stuff like that. Even if I never use it, I just want to know it at least, and I want to know everything about it just once. And then I can just forget it, and it's just something I need to get out of my brain. So
Don't forget us.
Yeah. So I do. I love doing that, and eventually sometimes I do end up using this stuff. So with lighting as well, especially when all the new lights come out, I read about them. I want to see the differences, how much more powerful is it, and then I can't wait to use it on set. So there's already like a bunch of lights I already have kind of like ready to kind of tick off. So anytime I get the chance, so if I'm doing something new and it's like we need to rent some lights, and I see the light that I've been thinking about has just come available here in the UAE to rent, I'm definitely going to try it out. Like even though if I know the other ones, like I'm like, okay, I've done the research, I know this is a safe bet, I want to study it, want to learn what's the advantage of this light, let's say, to the other lights I use constantly. And then it's just something that is now part of my arsenal, like where I can make more informed decisions to either save time or save weight, for things where I might love a certain light that I've been using for years, but it might be way too heavy for what that day requires. Maybe we're moving really fast and I need to be rigging it onto up high, and it's minimal crew, and or I need like a certain LED to have a bit of punch to it and not just be some big beam soft source, you know, like it's like little variances in that I'm looking out for. Like I go, okay, now I know why I'm going to pick you over you. So yeah, no, I'm totally into technology. Like I love learning all these new things, and they're doing wonderful stuff in filmmaking right now with Unreal Engine and stuff, with virtual production in technology. Like, so everything's like, you know, I think everyone's on the same thought process that I am, like with that. I think, like,
Yeah, so after the episode you should like tour him on all the
Yes.
updated
Yeah, speaking of updates, yeah, we'll have a lot of updates for you. We just
Yeah.
scratched the surface off cam a while ago, but yeah, we'll show you around as well.
Do you think it's a hard work to do? Like, how do you stand out of the industry as far as cinematography and color grading is somehow concerned in the market? So how do you, is it hard for you to stand out of this, and how do you stand out of this?
I guess it's I guess to stand out, it's just keeping a good portfolio, and being I think I would just say, if you can create a great portfolio, that's going to help you stand out even more. So I think doing projects that and when you do these projects, giving your all to these projects and really kind of like showing your abilities, so you can put it on your portfolio and people can see it, and also being like a fast mover on the day, and, you know, being able to be a great team player. All these things really help you kind of stand out, I'd say. Yeah, that's probably what I would say about that. Yeah.
So just giving your all to the.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but but building a good portfolio, so giving your all to the project, making sure it looks great, and you've done the best you can, and so you can put it on your portfolio, because that's what's gonna make you stand out. That's what's gonna get you jobs. Like, you know, people are gonna look at the work you do, your show reel, and be like, wow, that looks great. I want to work with this dude. So yeah, and that could, even if you're someone that's like not working, like if you're a student or someone and you're not working on these projects all the time, and you don't have the advantage of being like, well, I can't shoot this because I got no one's hiring me to do a project. If you just go out and film, like, you know, like just a shot of a certain thing that you love, or a scenic thing, and you know, buy a few small lights, then you can create something, and you can start building a small portfolio, and then eventually it kind of
will
like
develop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of just always feel like the portfolio is the kind of thing that makes you stand out the most, because, like I said, there's nothing, as we kind of briefly discussed in the last questions, there's not a particular style that I have, like, I don't think I have, so like there's nothing really I try to do except like make sure that the work is always good enough at the end of the day as a whole, by the way, not just like, oh, there's one particular shot I want to get right and everything else, no, I don't care. It's, for me, it's more important to get the whole thing as universally correct as possible. And I think in a portfolio that will stand out. If someone watches a full commercial of yours, that will stand out, because everything feels kind of in sync. And so I think that will make you stand out even more as a filmmaker. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry if that wasn't.
No, she's a judge, so.
Who are your favorite DOPs?
Oh, there's so many great DOPs. I think right now, if you were to ask me who is the best DOP right now, I think Greg Fraser is the best DOP right now working. Because I think he has such an ability to make things look organic, but they don't all look like the same. All his movies don't look the same, but there's always that organic texture that's there. It's that kind of like, I think he shoots on digital, and then he sometimes, I think for the Batman, he shot on digital and he then post-processed it into film, and I think that's what gives it that texture. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's what I read about it. But he has such a unique ability, because even in Dune, there's such great texture in the images in Dune, that so you always feel like more like you're watching something more rounded, more 3D. It's really fantastic to watch his work.
What I love about him, especially in Dune, it's like you feel the sand. You know?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's texture, it's elements that he has. He's so great at, like, you know, I think that's such an important thing. Like, he uses like the sand in Dune, but he uses the rain in Batman. It's these little things that stop this being 2D and allow it to be 3D, allow you to see it more. And I think that it's such a great thing. Like, I love it in general when I see that in cinematography or in films. When I see leaves off a tree fall down, or I see rain, or I see snow, it's a textural element that adds some life to it, and it adds some depth to an image. And I think he does it right now the best. I think he's brilliant. And then there's like the Batman. I loved the look of. I absolutely adored the look of. Like, I haven't looked at something in a long time and was like, that is like a painting to me. And I really love Jeff Cronenworth, who shot Fight Club, Social Network. And funny enough, when you look at and Seven, I think Seven was my favorite kind of shot film for a long, long time. And Seven looks very similar to the Batman, and you can see that he's obviously took a lot of inspiration from his work. But yeah, Jeff Cronenworth, he actually does particularly have a style because he works with David Fincher a lot, and so his directorial style, they kind of blend their styles together, I guess. But yeah, there's always a nice kind of like low-key, contrasty look to his work, which I really love, and he's really great at having these highlights stand out. You can see there's always practicals in his shots, and those incandescent lights, they have like a yellow warm tint, and it really helps kind of the soft blues in the back. It's really beautiful, his work. And then there's the GOAT, Roger Deakins. He's the legend. Everyone thinks he's the best cinematographer of all time, a lot of people say. And he's just, his work stands for itself, and his longevity in the industry, I think, is something to be admired and looked up to. And he, like we were talked about before, about having a style, a certain style, he is someone who's advocately always said that he doesn't have a style, and he kind of just adapts to the script and what it is calling for. He doesn't want the cinematography to ever stand out. It's his main thing. But it's more subtleties with his work, which is kind of similar to Conrad Hall, who is another OG of cinematography, and he shot American Beauty, Road to Perdition, which is one of my favourite shot movies, and we'll talk about texture. He's very great at that, and creating this very soft light, especially with those snowy kind of scenes in Road to Perdition. But he and Roger Deakins have things that kind of stand out with similarities, because with Conrad Hall, I think he did a film where I think this is something that's always talked about in film schools, I'm sure, but he did a film when there was a light that he was hitting out a window, and there was rain on the outside, and it made tears on the actor's face. And even though this actor was playing this kind of more hardened criminal, and I believe, and yeah, it was cool. For him, he didn't intentionally mean it. Was like serendipity is what he called it, like one of those moments that happens, but it like visually, metaphorically, it meant so much. And so he played around a lot with that. So did Roger Deakins. I feel like he did a film with Sean Penn. I can't remember the name of it now, but Sean Penn, Susan Sarandon. I remember reading in film school about this when I was studying for my dissertation, and it was just, this is the things I really love about cinematography. I think every time that she came to see him, he was a prisoner, and he was behind these bars, and they would use particular lenses. So you start with wide lenses for over the shoulders when they first would see them, and that way there's a big disconnect from them, because that you can see clearly the bars, and as they keep visiting, they're using closer lenses, and with that the depth becomes more on him, and those bars become less visible, because obviously the camera is focused on a certain area. So, and that's an intentional choice, that someone has said, that's exactly what I'm going to do, to bring the audience subconsciously, to show them that these two are getting closer, that these bars are no longer there. And things like that are always alive in cinematography. That's really the key for like why I love it. I think it's such thought-provoking. So yeah, they all have certain things that I really love, and yeah, I kind of
and I think these OGs are really became, or they actually become a reference for modern DOPs right now.
Definitely.
So yesterday, Majd and I were speaking about what's the movie with Bird Box, right?
The Bird Box.
The DOP of Bird Box, Totino, which is very similar style with most of the DOPs that are really playing on the grains and the textural element of it. Gone were the days wherein a DOP would be like very specific to, or they use landscape shots a lot, just to fill in. For example, my favorite is Lubeski from The Revenant.
Brilliant.
Is so, I just love him. Like, whatever he does, there's always something.
There's always movement.
Yes.
Lovely movement. Like, even remember he did Harry Potter and the Prisoner of
Mhm.
Azkaban.
Yeah.
I rewatched that recently, and I was like, I don't remember this ever being this good. Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
like when you look at how the first two, I think they're all brilliant movies because they're super fun. Like, but like the third movie, it's completely different to the first two because like the cameras don't really move in this magical and fluid way. And yeah, he is.
It works.
Yeah, it really works, especially
Yeah.
for the context of it. But yeah, he is like an OG for sure. He's brilliant. He is really brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
Interesting. Are there any local elements you love to incorporate into your work?
Local elements. I guess again, it would have to be depending on the project. So, for instance, like if we're filming something and it's to bring that essence of the Middle East to the viewer to get an understanding of that, then those local things would be kind of the beauty of Dubai. You know what I mean? Like the sand dunes, like the skyscrapers, those kind of things. You're kind of trying to highlight them and show them in the most beautiful way possible. That I think that's probably what I would have to say on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the color grading? Is it as well depending upon the type of the project or depending on the genre?
So with the color grading, it's kind of a bit both. Yeah, it's the type of project, it's the color, it's the genre. For instance, like if you're doing something like, well, the way I like to think about it is, when I do color grading, I kind of go one way or the other. Like if I'm doing something that has, if it's dramatic, I'm kind of playing it down. You know, I'm not really going. I'm just going for something that shows a bit of three dimension, like, you know, showing a bit of contrast, has a bit of texture, you know, and that's kind of what I want to universally get to all these images normally, unless there's a reason not to. And then if it's something where it's kind of like, you know, commercial or high key look, or there's something like family friendly or like something like that, and or it's we're trying to focus and bring joy and laughter and, like, you know, focus a certain amount on like a product or a place, or, you know, then I kind of I go mad and I'll experiment a lot of stuff. Like I really do a lot of stuff because I find that really interesting, and that's the joy of it for me, because these things you could never do years ago, and you have the ability. Like an example would be for that would be, I remember I do a lot of digital relighting in DaVinci Resolve. Like, you know, I won't just go saturation to do it. I'll actually, like, I remember I filmed something in particular where I think it was like a music thing, like with bands and stuff, and this band, I got them to jump in the pool basically all together. We filmed this in the day, you know, and it was a cloudy day. We filmed it, but I knew what I wanted to do with it. Like, and I put lights in the background. They weren't on; they were all off. But I just made that dusk, you know, in the grade, made it look like a dusk setting, which had this really nice, soft kind of look to it. And then I could just go in the background and turn on all the lights myself. So I made, like, you know, I rotoscoped around certain lights, like these box lights, made it purple, made it pink, you know, reflections in the water, no problem. I added reflections of those into the water, you know, and it added realism to something that, you know, which, if you see the raw, you'd be like, that is not it at all. Like, you know, like, what is this, you know? And I really love that. That's a real passion of mine, to be able to do that. Like, I like taking it a step further. When it calls for it, I'm not afraid to go all the way with color grading. I will, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, but when it needs to be kind of played down, like, you can sense it. You'll know you can't do that for like a drama, like, you know, family drama or something like that, or, you know, something that is more kind of heroic, or, you know, wants to get a deeper feeling, like, because you don't want to take the attention away from, you know, from the performances, or from the overall kind of less palated look, let's say. But then, yeah, being able to take everything else, like commercial wise, that calls for like these high key kind of insatiable, sensational kind of looks, then you can take it all the way. And I love doing that. Like, I know some people might not agree, but, like, yeah, I think it's nice, because I like it as well when I show people a grade and they go and they can't see the digital relighting, you know, when I do it, which is a lot, you know, like, because that's how powerful these tools have become nowadays.
And that's the beauty of it. If you don't see it, yeah, it means that you did a good job.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's not obvious. Anything exciting in the horizon? Are you itching any new projects?
So I'm not allowed to mention like a certain one. So that's probably all I can say on that. And then just a few
Stay
events here and
tuned.
there. Yeah. But in the future, I'll let you both know.
No, not from now.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good that you're looking something in the future. This is something that most of the creatives that we know are struggling to see what's gonna be beyond right now. But that just shows how good you are, and we're very happy to really have you here because the thought that you said that there are things you cannot mention. You're bounded by NDA, of course. But at the same time, you have projects. I think that's what's the most important thing, and congrats.
Well, thank you very much. Like I said, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. And
we're not done yet.
Oh, we're not. Okay. I'm gonna reel that back in.
Actually, we have the quick fire question, so she'll explain.
Okay, so it's either A or B.
Okay.
No explanation.
No explanation. But you'll be allowed to explain one of them.
Later.
Am I going to be timed, or is it a timer, or is it? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start. Digital cinema camera or film camera?
I would say digital. And I know a lot of people won't agree with me on that, but I mean, I know I'll be able to do a better job with that, and actually I can make it look like film. Because for me it's just easier to work with. It means that everyone else is going to be faster, more productive. There's just too many benefits to for me to be like, don't get me wrong, film, because I've used film cameras. They're great, and I love the aesthetic of it. That's what's, but I mean, it's nostalgic, and great, but in a professional, serious environment right now, unless it's called for, unless the team are like, hey, we want to shoot film, and I'll be up for it. I'll be like, definitely, let's do it. I mean, it's great, but nowadays everyone's a bit afraid, like in producers wise, of doing that. So like, but I still feel like, doing digital is a good way, because you have the benefit of being able to make it look like film.
And the actors and actresses are scared of film too, because there's no take two. You're gonna waste a lot of film. And just to be fair with our previous guests, because they're really like itching to explain this. You cannot explain.
Right.
You just have to say A or B. No explanation.
Oh, okay. No explanation.
No explanation.
Okay. Let's rewind it. Let's go again. Digital.
Okay.
Okay. Manual focus or autofocus?
Manual focus.
To color grade or not to color grade?
Color grade.
Adobe or DaVinci Resolve?
DaVinci Resolve. Hands down.
Oh, okay.
Gimbal or auto stabilization?
Gimbal.
RAW or ProRes?
RAW.
Every camera will have a dynamic range setting, so film mode or video mode?
Film mode? Yeah, film mode.
It's really an interesting conversation.
Unfortunately, we're reaching the end of the episode. So...
I know. We were told that we are... But mainly because it's really, we've... I think the conversation, you won't really feel time when you're enjoying it.
I've really enjoyed it. I thought I was nervous coming in here because I've never done anything like this before, but it's gone really fast almost. Yeah, it's great. I've really enjoyed it. So
actually, that's the last question. Are you nervous or?
Damn, I've answered it ahead of time.
And there you have it, folks. That was Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us today. The conversation was very helpful, was very fun, and I'm sure that knowledge will really help the directors and the cinematographers out there in the market.
Thank you
so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we will continue to have conversations with interesting and notable individuals in the world of creative media technology here in the UAE. And we look forward to you joining us in the next episodes. Please do follow or subscribe to whatever platform you're viewing this now, so we will get notified in succeeding episodes. Once again, my name is Majd, and
my name is Larry, and you're watching Live at MCX.